Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the Puffy, I'll Tell You Story show. I'm your host, Carter Scott. I've been doing this show a little over a year now. The show is designed for people to come on and tell their story no matter what it may be. I don't care if you just got out of prison or you just going through some health issues or some drastic change in your life. You're welcome to be a guest on my show or on a community show. But the show was designed in memory of a late friend of mine, David Sean Bendy. He Googled my name one day and thought he heard that I was playing sports for Zero House at University, and he thought that if I told my story, wrote a book, it would be the greatest thing that he would that I could ever do for myself. But when he died suddenly back in October 2009, I realized that there was more to life than just. It kept ringing in my mind, tell your story, tell your story. So I created this show for others to come on and tell their story, because my story, I'm not really being a limelight matter, imagine that, because I'm doing this show right now, but it's not about me. I believe it's about your people that you know, your neighbors, your friends, your family, that has great stories that they would like to share with the community that no one will ever hear unless they watch this show. One of my guests today is Dr. Edward George. He's a minister, pastor over at Pearly Gates Church of God, and Mr. Beneto Leo. The song that you heard in the background was by Johnny Taylor back in the day. It's called Cheaper to Keep Her. They are involved in a program right now that has changed lives, one family at a time, more or less. And Dr. George has been a guest on the show before, but Dr. George, can you kind of tell me exactly what it is that you've been doing with your program called Healthy Marriage Coalition?
Yes, thank you. The program that we're involved in is dealing with Healthy Marriage Coalition. That's the program that was established by the state of California. And we zeroed in on communication skills and through relationship enhancement, to enhance the relationship through 10 relationship skills. We all have some kind of skill. I'm a skilled mechanic, retired mechanic, and I know my skill, I know how to put things together. So we're using that concept into the relationship skills to help one better learn how to have a relationship with their partner. I can thankfully and gladly say that me and my wife been in a relationship for 58 years, and we've been married 56 of those 58. And believe it or not, since we've been into this class, there's some areas that has become more excited, more understanding because of what we're doing. And we strongly feel that there's couples out there that are having relationship problems and probably would like to see them better, but don't know just which way to go. And so this program coming into San Joaquin County, I got involved in it in April of '09, and then followed it along. September, I was putting on classes here in Stockton, and in December, Mr. Lear come down from the state, certified those workers to become certified facilitators to help work in the program. They are now working in the community, putting together a program coming up on June 4th. We'll have an 8-hour class. We'll be again held at the Pearly Gate Church, is 2171 East 11th Street. And there will be one on the 25th of June. And in these classes, if you come to them, you'll get what I call your tune-up kit. You'll get a little booklet, and once we carry you through the booklet, you'll have that book to stay with, and you and your partner can work back and forward in that to keep it going. So I think these skills would really be helpful: empathetically listening, expression, discussion, coaching, conflict management, problem solving, self-change, helping others to change, and generalization, and maintain that information that you learn throughout the program. So that's what we're about, and that's what we're doing. And it's beginning to work here in San Joaquin County, and I'm glad to have Mr. Leo come in from the state so he can tell us just what part that the state play and what our goals is and what we hope to accomplish. California. And let me just say that California, I believe I can safely say that California spends little better than $10 to $12 billion a year on divorce in all of its aspects and all that goes with divorces. So certainly, I think a relationship enhancement class will have an impact on those statistics. So at this time, I want to ask Mr. Lear to let us know what he did.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, Mr. Beneto, thank you again for being on the show. Again, like I said, a lot of people have seen Dr. George and what he does, and people know him in the community, but we don't know who you are. You tell me about your background, your growing up, where you grew up at, and all that good stuff, and why you are in this place right now.
Okay. Well, let me just make a little clarification. The organization that I work with, called California Healthy Marriages Coalition, is not really a state of California government agency. It's a statewide nonprofit organization, and we have a federal grant from Health and Human Services that enables us to help organizations like Dr. George's here and up and down the state, faith-based organizations and community organizations, to do communication skills training. And the reason we got the grant was to help couples be healthy and strong, because as they go, so go the children in their lives. And that's why the grant was, we got the grant, was to help reduce the divorce rate, strengthen marriages and families, so kids have a great environment to grow. So I just want to set that little clarification.
And like you say, we just follow.
Yeah.
I think that, like you said, communication.
Yeah.
I know with myself, I was always a quiet person.
Okay.
I knew I done something wrong, I get quiet and go into my, I'm a cancer, I go into my little shell.
Okay.
But it makes a difference on if you cannot communicate properly or get your point across, without using foul language or name calling or slamming doors or driving off in a hurry, spinning tires and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have a big problem.
Yeah, yeah.
And when Dr. George first brought this thing to me, I've actually been to some of his classes before, I'm certified, but it's the fact that you have facilitators out there.
Yeah.
How does that work, and how does...
It's really exciting. Oftentimes when we think of the word communication, we think of how do I come across, how am I expressing myself? But the very first skill that we teach is, even before I'm talking, is what kind of a listener am I? And we find that as we listen with empathy if I listen to what you just said with empathy and really understand you, then I really open up, and you're more inclined then to feel, oh, I can share my heart to this person, even if it's a total stranger, because he or she is making it really, they're making themselves available to really hear what I have to say. So that's not only a valuable human trait, but especially in couple dialogue, when both people want to get their point across and wish that the other person was listening, sometimes they're not listening so well themselves. So how to be a good listener is number one.
So with this day and age, so if I'm texting and you're talking to me, is that considered a good listener?
Well, if I'm talking to you and you're texting at the same time, we would call that multitasking. And while we celebrate multitasking in a lot of ways, in terms of communication, we want a single task. So we want to be able to look at the person we're talking to or we're listening to, and basically they're the reason we're paying attention right now, and not something else going on the side, either at the computer screen or texting or doing something else.
Exactly, or watching that sports, channel surfing.
You bring up a good point. It's a very distractive type of era that we're in. And we have all these things which we think enable a lot of good communication, a lot of technology, but the bottom line, people's hearts get lost in that they don't feel that they're being heard, or they can really share their heart to somebody. And we want to kind of, within the world as it is, improve those fundamental core skills. And that's what really helps make marriages strong. It makes parent-child relationships strong. And even on the church level, what we're talking about is we preach love from the pulpit in the churches. But how do you love each other? What are the ways to do that in terms of listening and speaking caringly to one another? That's love in action. So we're trying to bring the skills in there that helps make the spiritual desire to love effective.
Dr. George, before you heard this program, did you have any idea about, what is it called, these 10 skills that you referred to?
Well, no, I wasn't familiar with them at the time, but...
So you relate to them, or?
Well, knowing that, I pastored for 16 years, and working with people, I seen that there was another level that hopefully I could get to in terms of communication to help people better understand the relationship they was in. And when I heard about this class and this Health and Marriage Coalition, I was interested to get involved. After all, I'm also Dean of C.H. Mason Bible College here in Stockton. And so this makes this unique. If you come and take these classes, you're going to accomplish a couple of things. Number one, you're gonna learn the skills which are gonna help your relationship. And at the same time, the Bible college will give you credit for 30 units of college credit, which is credit to college, Bible college credit for taking the class.
Wow.
And so it's a win-win situation. And you're gonna be a better person. You'll be a better person. And if you're not ready for the full class, you want an orientation, maybe you want to get a couple of your friends together, 4 or 5 at the house one evening, contact me. We'll be more than glad to come in and give you an orientation to the class, what it's all about. Once you see what we're talking about and how the program works, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to know more about it.
Okay. And you said you got involved in this by how, Mr.?
Well, I was working with an organization in Oakland at the time, a nonprofit organization, and we were applying for a federal grant to do capacity building work with small faith-based and community organizations.
Capacity building.
Capacity building. We'll help them be effective in the missions that they have, and help build up their capacity, both in terms of maybe getting computers, getting training, knowing how to do budgets, whatever. Well, one of the things that we, in the capacity building, so they could deliver effective service to families, was we wanted to have a communication skills piece brought in there to improve communications in the family. And so my wife and I went to a class just to check it out for our grant purpose. We went to a class called Mastering Mysteries of Love, which here's a book here that we use in the class now, Mastering the Mysteries of Love. And this is where the 10 skills that Dr. George is referring to. My wife and I went to a class in April 2005, and again, I'm going there thinking, how is this going to help the people I work with? But it helped me so much, because I thought I was a decent listener. I thought if you put the Q-tip in the morning and the hole's open, you're good to go. That just means you got a hole in your head, maybe 2 holes in your head. But it didn't mean that you were listening from down in here. So it was revolutionary for me. So I came back, and we decided to bring that into our grant, and then not only did I attend the class, but I got trained as a trainer in this, a facilitator, and now ultimately a trainer of trainers. So I'll come and teach the leaders like Dr. George has, and equip them so they can go out and teach classes in the churches and in the community.
So communication, listening, empathy.
Yeah. Empathy.
I understand how the other person is feeling.
Yeah.
Put yourself in those. Put yourself
There
in my
you go.
shoes. I've said that many times. Put yourself in my shoes. You know how I feel, right? But
Empathy. Feel into the other person.
Yeah,
People know sympathy more than they know empathy. Sympathy means to feel with. Like you're suffering right now, somebody's passed away, I sympathize with you. I'm going to feel with you. But empathy means to feel into what you're saying. So when we talk about communication skills, we not only want to listen to the words, when we say empathy, I want to listen through your words to the heart to produce those words. Now that's listening.
now
That's powerful stuff.
And now that's deep.
That's deep stuff.
Okay.
One of the exercises we use is that we have the couples that stand one facing the wall and the other facing the group of people. And then we ask them to show us what they see in their world. And once you can begin to see into the other person's world as they see it, you then can better understand what it is that they're dealing with, because you see it similar to them. And what we have them do is look over their shoulder to see the other person's world, what it's like.
And see, if like I said, if I'm facing the wall, my partner is looking out into the
other
crowd,
direction.
the other direction.
Yeah.
You're seeing 2 different things.
Yeah.
You know,
And they're both valid.
Yeah. And
To
they're
the
both
people
valid.
that are looking.
To the people that are looking.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, like being from like my background, when I sit in Dr. George's orientation, couples orientation, and the classes, my whole thinking changes. You know, but my problem is my significant other may not be there, so they don't really see what I'm going through. But just that learning phase, man, I learn something every time, because when you sit and just listen to that person, you know. Sometimes you see tears, but you know tears don't talk. But you know, but you can maybe feel, you know, you might stop crying. You know, why you stop crying? I always crying, you know, cry baby, whatever. But when you come to this empathy, it's huge. That's number one. Is being realistic with empathy.
And one of the skills, and we can do it right now, would be to share back with you what you just said as you. So as Carter, when I attended these classes, I'm sharing back now.
Okay.
As Carter, when I attended these classes, I was so impacted on how I realized how much listening can be. And it was just like, really opened me up, and it was mind-blowing to me personally. when I attended these classes.
Exactly.
And the more I studied, the more I got out of it.
Okay.
Is there more?
Yeah,
Then we say, is there more? And I'm gonna ask you, is there more?
No, that's usually you hit the hammer on the head. Sometimes as Carter, just what I've gained from classes.
Yeah.
You know.
So I gained something every time from the
We
class.
can always learn.
Mhm.
If you're willing to go out and see. Like that song says, cheaper to keep her. How many people just throw their relationships away?
Yeah.
Can you imagine being married 30 years, 25 years, all of a sudden, I don't love you no more, let's get a divorce?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, something's missing
What
there.
happened?
Something's missing there.
The communication. The
Well,
communication breakdown.
It's kind of like there's a nice theme called the marriage garden. Tend your marriage garden. And you wouldn't plant a tomato plant or anything and just say, okay, job done, and go away and just let it bake in the ground, never water it, and expect it to produce fruit. A marriage is the same way. Just because we say I do 56 years ago or 29 years ago or yesterday, I still got to pay attention today. And so it's constantly growing. It's a work in progress. You give birth to a baby, you nourish it every day. You give birth to a marriage, you got to nourish that every day. And rather than being a chore, it becomes a life journey. And that's what makes it beautiful. So when we learn these skills and other skills, it helps us bring new life to our relationship. Powerful stuff.
And just like the coaching, every time you think of coach, you're thinking about sports. So the first thing that comes to mind is how you kick a soccer ball, how you shoot a basketball, right? But there's more to this.
Well, you got to know the skill and you got to practice. I bet you did basketball.
I did basketball.
Did you do a few foul shots before the game?
I always, before the game, after the game, I always practice.
Yeah.
If you don't know these terms,
Yeah.
if you don't know that maybe I should learn how to do this. I've taught a few domestic abiding classes before. Basically, just taught the cycle of violence. You got that honeymoon period.
There you
got
go.
that period when you're whatever, when you're making up or whatever. And then here it comes.
And then the frustration builds up, and then
frustration builds up, and then all of a sudden, boom,
explosion.
You're in the same spot we was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Along that way, I would say nothing really ever was settled. The problem is still there.
Yeah.
Right.
What I hope to do with this program, that and the churches that listen, and you that listen, attend various churches in town, that maybe you want to talk with your group and say, look, let's give it a try. Let's have an orientation, and having a common source an orientation, and maybe there's a group out of that setting would be want to become facilitators, and then we could fix them so they could work in their particular churches. And because we get strong churches, we're going to have strong communities, and it'll go on up the line. And that's where it's at. And I'm dedicated to doing that. And I just appreciate the opportunity that I get a chance to tell others. After 56 years, let me tell you, me and Mama have more fun now than we did a long time ago.
And with our federal grant, he's able to put these classes on for almost free. What's it, like $10?
$10.
$10 a class because of the federal grant. We're able. This is normally like a $200 course to go through, but with the federal grant, bringing this out to the community, people can come to the class that Dr. George is going to teach on Saturday, June 4th, and then the final Saturday of June. So two full-day classes.
It's 8 hours each?
Yeah, 8 hours each day, about 8 hours each day, and it's designed to be a 16-hour curricula, and you'll get so much out of that. And the way they can contact you would be edwardgeorge@sbcglobal.net.
Yes.
Okay, there's his email right there. You can contact him to get to register.
So if I call Dr. George, I want to enroll in this class, what happens? If I go to those 16 hours, am I becoming a facilitator, or am I doing it with my partner, or am I trying to enhance my marriage?
That'll be for you personally. That'll be to go through a class. Based on having gone through a class, and if you get several people to go through the class, he'll contact me and say, hey, Bento, I got another 15 people that have gone through classes that they're all interested in their various churches, whatever. They want to be trained as facilitators. Then we line that up, and I come in and I do a leader training with them. And again, that's done for almost no charge too. That's just cover maybe buying lunch.
Yeah.
And they end up with a certification to be able to go and teach this course, the communication skills course, to others. And we have the couples program, and we also have the same program, Ready for Love, which is a singles program, singles version. So this is for the couples, Mastering the Mysteries of Love, and for committed couples or married couples, and then this is for singles. And a lot of churches, a lot of pastors will say, well, I've got about 60–70% of my congregation is single. Can we use the singles program and have the couples join? I say, sure. So we can do either way. But we would love to have people that are watching this show and others that find out about the program that's taking place June 4th to attend, and then go back and then spread the word.
And don't like just again, mastering the mysteries of love.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how much? You ever say how much do you love me? You gotta say, how much do you love me? Oh, I love you. I always say I love you this much. That means nothing can get between you. You know what I mean, right? But that word, the word love itself is
Yeah.
huge.
Exactly.
It's you can't measure
Right.
love. You know, you can say it 1,000 times, but until you show it and understand it, and like I said, learn these different skills.
Yeah. And it's important what you say, because I think well chosen is the term, mastering the mysteries of love, because it might imply, well, you're either in love and you're out of love. Love comes and love goes. It's kind of like you got it or you don't have it. Well, there are some mysterious components to love, but if we want to get into it, there's some skills involved that makes love happen. Or if you don't do the skills, love can pass away. So it's not like, well, we just somehow love each other. When you practice skills, you can really build something, build a loving relationship together.
Dr. George, have you heard the saying, you know, I'm in love with you, but I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Mysteries of love.
It's one of the mysteries. They don't understand. Probably if that group would go through this communication class, he could explain, or that person could explain what it is that they're saying.
I'm in love, but I'm not in love. I'm in love with you, but I love you, but I'm not in love with you.
Yeah.
Well, there might be some gap there.
Yeah.
Well, some people are kind of like that, where they love you, but because there's some issues involved, there's a part of me that's not open or closed off. You tick me off about this or that, but I love you, but I'm angry at you, so it's kind of a, where am I in all that?
Yeah.
Where do you see this program going?
Well, what we're excited about, again, with our 5-year federal grant that we have, California Healthy Marriages Coalition.
On for 5 years, how many more years you have?
Well, we got till the end of September for this grant, and we're going to be reapplying again, and the current administration will be putting out another request for proposals throughout the country. And we're also generating other funds and whatever, but our objective with California Healthy Marriages Coalition, and by the way, we are now changing our name this month to Healthy Relationships California, which includes focus on marriage, but also other kinds of maybe unmarried couples, parent-child relationships, preparing youth for good communication in their life. So we're broadening our reach in terms of the communication skills to include marriage, but also every other kind of relationship that we have in life. Our goal is to continue to build this up, not only to help strengthen marriages and families in California, but to help raise up the culture so that we can have stronger families. You know, we pay a lot, as Dr. George said. When there's a divorce down the street, it comes out of my top pocketbook through taxes and everything else. Not only am I sorry for them, but it affects the whole fabric of society when we have to have more institutions, more services that taxpayers have to pay for to try to clean up a mess that maybe upstream, if we just cleaned it up a little bit more at the startup, then we wouldn't have to be bailing out so many things down here of people unable to swim downstream. What if we taught them how to swim up the river?
And see, I always believe that, like when it comes to kids, when it comes to, you said, hitting kids in junior high school, how to communicate with your friends, how to communicate with your neighbors, how
With
to
respect.
With respect,
Yeah.
and not name call, and how when you call me a name, it really hurts when you call me a name. So I want to lash out and beat you up.
There you
because
go.
I don't know how to
And we
communicate.
bring that into adulthood.
Yeah,
We don't just suddenly become an adult out of nowhere. We brought all that with us. So we want to teach good, effective communication skills, not necessarily teaching a 12-year-old kid how marital stuff, but how to teach them how to respectfully communicate with other people, how to listen, how to express myself well, and then that carries forward into adulthood.
And the program is, the first one is June 4th.
Yes, this
And
class is
it's
June
$10.
$10.
$10.
And man,
Mainly that just covers the lunch.
Yeah,
The course itself is free and the book is free.
And out of $10, you have a continental breakfast and then a lunch. And you can reach me at area code 209-640-9077 to register. Thank you.
And so you said the grant is already around, but we have hope that it's going to continue.
Right,
It has
right.
to
The work
be
is
continued.
the work is
But right
moving
now,
on.
I believe that we need more communication skills now than ever because so many people are going through tough times.
Yes.
And they feel less than what they were a year ago,
Yes.
and all that. And I really believe that communications, Marriage
Yes.
Coalition, it has a place here in our world.
Very good.
Because a lot of times we just take communication for granted. Like I said, that song says it's cheaper to keep her.
Mhm.
And I so hard to believe that it's definitely, if you learn to communicate, you don't have to worry about keeping her, because she's gonna be there.
She'll wanna stay with you.
And then
She's gonna feel that love.
Right.
because when your kids see the divorces, now when they get married, they're quick to get divorced as soon as something go wrong.
They follow the patterns.
Follow the pattern.
Follow the patterns they see.
Okay, all right, we got 1 minute left, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. What do you think you want people to know from this show?
Well, just how important good communication is, and that it's not by accident. There are skills to be taught and skills to be learned, and if you use those, you'll do well. And go to this class.
And the number one skill we probably to be learned is
Listening. Empathic listening. How to really listen.
Empathic listening.
Right.
I
Listen
don't think I've
to
ever
the
used
other
that
person
word.
from their point of view.
I never used the word empathic before in my life.
There
I
you go.
used
You got it.
empathy.
You got it.
But all right, Dr. George,
And you got to want to do it.
you have to want to do it.
You gotta wanna make your relationship better. And if you wanna make your relationship better, we have the skills and the tools to do it with.
All right, thank you very much again for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you for a few minutes. 30 seconds.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's
All
a
right.
wrap.
That's a
Thank you,
wrap.
Carter. You're Superman. You're Superman.
What I'd like to do is, if you can't, I want to keep on seeing this, their thing.
Yeah,
You got
yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I want to do this show also.
Thank you.
Yeah, I saw it over there.
I should've-
Yeah.
How do you think that went?
Falling on the
Perfect.
floor.
Yeah, it was great. I thought it was great.
Tell them about you, Joey. All our shows are perfect.
Yeah.
But
only have
it's
one?
perfect because
No, I
you're trying to get a message across.
Yeah.
And that we're here.
I really appreciate you
Oh, I
doing
thought there was
this as a
two.
ministry, really.
Yeah, and it is. And see, I don't know my calling, but I have a calling.
Yeah, you're very good at this.
No, I-
Now that Oprah's retired, man, you got a spot.
And still let us be brief with Oprah. Oprah, have you heard from Puffy Hour show in Stockton, California? And so
No,
you get
no,
in the spot.
you could say, Oprah, thanks for warming that chair for me.
You also, you said, the more people that send, okay, Oprah, have you heard about the Puffy Hour show? Because I believe that she's gonna be a guest on the
Now,
show.
where'd you get Puffy out? Where's that now? That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
My mother collected owls,
Okay,
and owls come from her, but then my stepdaughter, she could not pronounce her mother's name when she was young. If people say Stephanie, she would say Puffy.
oh, there we
So
go.
that's Puffy Owl. So I didn't want a Carter Scott show. You know, we have enough shows saying like
The name of the guy.
Tyra Banks and all that kind of stuff. The old,
He's just
you know,
gonna
Puffy
get
Owl.
it.
Puffy Owl's
They're like,
cool.
They're like, is that a cartoon?
Yeah, right, we don't know, we don't
really
know.
So, you know, in your travels, you find a puffy owl somewhere. A little owl. big
I'll say,
owl.
I know that guy.
Hey,
I know that guy.
1 second. We want to go to the picture real quick too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mr.
Although you have
Johnson,
Yeah,
is my phone right there in front of you?
yeah.
Let's get a picture of them real fast, so we can send it to them via email and all that kind of stuff.
That'd be nice. Oh, it was great. I thought it went really well. Thanks so much for keep hammering that June 4th.
He was a
That's
basketball
important.
player.
Got to give them something to go to, and your
Yeah.
email on your cell phone.
Or he does, he puts it on the,
Oh, yeah, but that's good, you know, verbalize.
No.
we're looking for.
I thought he said he,
All right, Mr.
Did a
Johnson.
little demo there of the iPhone of listening. Want to give them a taste.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
that
taste.
was it.
What I try to do is on my Facebook, I try to put a picture of my guests.
yeah, he talked about his
Yeah.
basketball.
Puffy Owl
Yeah, I
on
never heard
Facebook?
that. What they're.
No, I try to get, they wouldn't let me, first reason, they wouldn't let me do it.
Yes,
Why not?
oh, what they're doing,
It's on the car
it's
scout, but it still
very
has,
similar
in my,
to
in
me.
my,
That we have
album
so
is called
many
Puffy Owl.
divorces
Gotcha.
that they feel like the
we
state
stand up?
is
Yeah.
after this right now because
Okay.
it'll save the state money if there aren't so many divorces.
Oh, I see.
And so they're promoting
Puffy Owl.
communication.
Well, then ours will be good right after that.
Yeah. And being a good listener, like father is.
See, I talk about it right now.
Doesn't listen.